Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name. Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.
Hello, I'm Lawrence Owen, and I'm here with another NFL update. The Redskins' Antonio Gibson hoping to live up to the Christian McCaffrey comparison. Now, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to read this article that was posted on ClutchPoints today by Marty Finn on April 30th, 2020. Then I'm going to go over my thoughts, not only about the article itself, but about comparisons in general. Are they fair, really, to draftees coming out of college, comparing them to current and previous NFL professional players? But first, let's go ahead and go over this article by Marty and see what he has to say about what he likes. Okay, let's see here. We got the Washington Redskins backfield situation is a little uncertain, which helps explain why they selected Memphis hybrid Antonio Gibson in the third round. Gibson is listed as a wide receiver, but he also lined up in the backfield and even under center for the Tigers this past season, tallying 12 total touchdowns. Gibson also displayed his talents as a return man, averaging 28 yards per kick return and scoring a returning touchdown. Essentially, Gibson can do it all. His versatility, apparently I can't say versatility, is somewhat reminiscent of Carolina Panthers running back star Christian McCaffrey, who had a similar do-it-all sort of role for the Stanford Cardinals during his collegiate career. And versatility clearly wooed Washington. Gibson welcomes these comparisons to McCaffrey as he embarks on his NFL career. I would definitely like to compare myself to McCaffrey because he's exactly what I want to do. I want to be in the backfield, but I also want to play in the receiving game. I feel like he's tremendous at doing that, and that's what I want to bring to my team. My ability to catch effectively and make plays happen, and also be able to run. Just an all-around team player and an all-around back. New Redskins head coach Ron Rivera coached McCaffrey in Carolina. And he said there are similarities between the two in terms of skill sets. Of course, McCaffrey is still primarily a running back and a return man in college, and since became a tremendous weapon out of the backfield in Carolina. Perhaps Gibson's situation will be the inverse. Regardless, Gibson figures to take snaps all over the field. He certainly could get a shot at playing running back, especially considering Adrian Peterson's age and Darius Juice's injury issues. Now, first off, it says here that McCaffrey became a receiving threat in Carolina, and that's not right at all. While he was at Stanford, he showed that he was able to catch passes out of the backfield as well and was just a dangerous dual threat as a running back in general. And that's what Carolina absolutely loved. That's why they picked him so high in the draft. And that's why he's a superstar today, because he just, upped his ante when he got into the pro level. Well, not just that, the fact that he was really one of the only true weapons Carolina had to really get the ball to. I mean, he was like 2/3 of Carolina's offense last year. It's sickening how much they use him and just kind of bury him into the dirt, The way they use him, as much as they use him, I wouldn't be surprised if McCaffrey doesn't last 5 more years in the NFL. Especially, I truly don't see him lasting a Frank Gore or Adrian Peterson style career tenure. But let's just talk about, in general, pro comparisons. I personally don't like comparing anyone to a current or former NFL player. Now, I might say that, hey, this guy's skill set reminds me a little of this guy in saying what he might be able to do on the field. But to just straight say, and you hear this all the time, this guy's ceiling is this, or this guy's ceiling is this. I personally said that Jonathan Taylor, the Colts second round pick, late second round pick, number 41, I said that he kind of reminds me a little, with his body size and speed, of Adrian Peterson. You know, how he's a very physical running back who has some top end speed to him. But there is no way in the world am I going to say that Jonathan Taylor's ceiling is Adrian Peterson. Because they're not the same player. They're not the same situation. They're not on the same team. They're not in the same era. There's just so many differences. Just flat out. Earlier, Chris Ballard compared Michael Pittman to Vincent Jackson. Now, he didn't say that was his ceiling. Kind of similar how I said, you know, he's a big receiver with some top end speed that could get down the field and win 50-50 catches. That's fine. And he says, well, Vincent Jackson was able to do that as well. You know, kind of similar in that aspect. But really, okay. So let's look at it this way. No player is like another player. Okay? None. Period. You could say they have similar traits, but no player is like another player. For one, their exact athleticism, they're never exact. Body height, speed, arm length, all these little intricacies in your physical stature makes for a different player. Allows for different things. Then you have work ethic. Then you have locker room presence. You know, the effect that he has on the team around him. Then you have how he handles media. Because that, in effect, will determine, has a little bit on how other teams perceive a player. I mean, had Terrell Owens been a little less outspoken on the field and towards media, would the NFL and fans in general have a kind of a different aspect if he kind of handled himself more like a Marvin Harrison, you know, rather than being outspoken like he was? Quite possible. It's also a good possibility that would have got him into a Hall of Fame a lot faster. Little things. You compare this kid here, all right, if you compare Gibson to McCaffrey, now he says that he definitely likes the comparison because that's what he wants to get to become like. But if you tell the kid, hey, you know what, you're going to get 350 touches every season, he's going to look at you and go, well, that's awesome. That means I'll be making a lot of money. His career ain't going to last very long, and he knows that. But, I mean, come on. Now, also, saying, hey, you know, I think you look like Christian McCaffrey. You got same skill sets as Christian McCaffrey. There are other players that have very similar skill sets as Christian McCaffrey in the NFL. But they're in a different situation. For instance, Alvin Kamara, very similar, you know, in kind of skill sets. Very good running back out of the backfield, able to catch the football. But he's not used because there are other weapons on that team. You know, Drew Brees likes to kind of dole out the ball a little bit. Now, granted, last year, his wide receiver got a lot of receptions. He kind of leaned on him a little bit. But Alvin Kamara also gets, New Orleans is not the same as Carolina. Would Christian McCaffrey have as many touches in Carolina as he would in New Orleans? I don't think so. Would he have as many touches if he was on the Kansas City Chiefs? I don't think so. So, really comparing anyone to any situation is not fair. Also, some players would not be able to handle high-level comparisons. Or, if you compare someone to someone that a lot of players and fans and teams don't even know who they are, oh, well, this kid's ceiling is some player you've never heard of. He's like a third-string running back for Tampa Bay. Now, sorry, Tampa Bay fans, I understand that you probably know who your third-string running back. I don't. I just being fair and honest here, I'd have to look it up because I don't know it off the top of my head. But you do something like that, next thing you know, you light a fire under that player, and you watch him go out and become a Pro Bowler, that very next year. Right? That's what happened to Darius Leonard. Darius Leonard got a fire lit under him because he had some very poor comparisons coming out of college. He was drafted by many experts thinking he was drafted way too early. Said that it was a horrible pick by the Indianapolis Colts picking him in the second round. Lit a fire under him. And he went out and performed way above expectations. And that's kind of the flip of it. Whereas, let's say, like I said right now, let's say a lot of people said, well, Jonathan Taylor looks like his ceiling is Adrian Peterson. That's a lot to put on a player's shoulder. Adrian Peterson is an all-pro, Pro Bowl, future Hall of Fame running back. And that's putting a lot on that guy's shoulders. But at the same time, he wouldn't be in the same situation. He might not be able to handle that kind of that kind of comparison. Everybody's saying, well, we're expecting you to get, 1,300 plus yards every season. And you might as well remember that you're going to be playing for at least 10 years at the running back at a high level. That's a lot to put on a player's shoulders. It's an unfair thing to do. Okay? Would Adrian Peterson been the same Adrian Peterson had he been playing for the Miami Dolphins early in his career? Would Gardner Minshew be Gardner Minshew had he been compared to someone else, but yet started in a different situation, say New England? It's not fair. I say the traits that is about that player. Hey, this guy's got good speed. He's got good size. His footwork needs improved upon. He needs to understand the playbook better. He needs to learn route running better. He's got great natural ball instincts. Things of that nature. And you can compare small traits to other players. Hey, this guy's got really, really good ball-seeking ability. Kind of reminds you of Moss when it comes to going up and catching a football at its high point. Tracking down a ball in the air and catching it at its high point. That's something that I'm okay with. But saying, well, this player's ceiling is Randy Moss is just completely and utterly unfair to that player. So that's my thoughts on that. If you agree with what I'm saying, please smash that favorite button. Give me a follow if you're watching on Sportscastr. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you will be notified next time I go live. And don't forget to check out the description at the bottom of the description. of this video, there is a link for any single-time donations. All donations be much appreciated. It'll help me continue to bring content to you. And until next time, I am Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law. No, it's not. I'm sorry. I'm Lawrence Owen, and I'm bringing you the NFL update. Until next time, have a good one.